Brother, what I'm about to tell you is something women will never openly admit. In fact, if you ask them directly, they'll deny it completely. They'll call it toxic, manipulative, outdated. But watch their behavior instead of listening to their words, and you'll see this pattern play out over and over again across every culture, every generation, every type of woman. There's one thing that works on every single woman, regardless of what she says she wants. It doesn't matter if she's traditional or modern, educated or not, conservative or liberal. This bypasses all conscious preferences and triggers something deep in female psychology that she can't control, even if she recognizes it happening. And here's why women won't admit this. Because admitting it would mean acknowledging that they're not as rational about attraction as they claim to be, that their choices are driven by instinct and biology more than logic and values, that what they say they want and what actually makes them attracted are completely different things. The Stoics understood something critical about human nature. People lie to themselves constantly about their own motivations. Marcus Aurelius wrote about seeing reality clearly without delusion. Well, the reality of female attraction is very different from what women claim drives their choices. Today, I'm revealing the one thing that works on every woman without exception. Not a trick, not a line, a fundamental truth about female psychology that creates attraction whether she wants it to or not. This is going to make you uncomfortable. It might even make you angry. But if you're ready to see reality clearly instead of comfortable lies, stay with me. Let's get into it. Here it is. The thing that works on every woman without exception. The thing she'll never admit to. Indifference to her validation combined with clear purpose in your own life. Not being mean, not being unavailable, not playing games, but genuine, authentic indifference to whether she approves of you, combined with being deeply invested in something that matters to you more than her attention. Let me break down why this is so powerful and why women will never openly admit it works. First, understand what triggers attraction in female psychology at the deepest level. Women are biologically wired to be attracted to men who have options, men who other women want, men who are valuable enough that losing any single woman wouldn't devastate them. This is pre-selection and abundance signals working at a subconscious level. When you're genuinely indifferent to her validation, you're signaling abundance without saying a word. You're communicating that you have enough going on in your life, enough options, enough purpose, that her approval or rejection doesn't define you, and that abundance is magnetic because scarcity is repulsive. Second, indifference combined with purpose demonstrates you're a complete person who doesn't need her to feel whole. You want to share your life with someone quality, but you don't need anyone specifically to complete you. This is incredibly attractive because neediness is the universal attraction killer. Most men are desperate for female validation. They adjust their behavior based on her responses. They chase her approval. They make her the center of their universe. They need her to like them. And that need radiates from every interaction, killing attraction instantly. But the man who's genuinely indifferent, who's focused on his mission, his goals, his purpose, who treats her interest as a pleasant addition to his life rather than the main event, that man triggers something primal in female psychology that she can't control. Third, this creates psychological tension that women find irresistible. When every other man is chasing her, seeking her approval, trying to win her over, you're the one. Man who isn't. You're engaged with your own life. You're focused on your own goals. You're treating her like she needs to earn your attention rather than the other way around. This reversal of typical dynamics creates what psychologists call challenge response. Humans want what they have to work for. When you're not freely giving validation and attention, when she has to actually earn it from you, she becomes invested in securing it. Not because you're playing games, but because you genuinely have standards, and she's not automatically meeting them just by being attractive. Fourth, indifference to her validation while being deeply invested in your purpose demonstrates high value through action rather than words. You're not telling her you're valuable, you're showing her through how you live. Your time and energy are focused on building something, achieving something, becoming something. She can see that you have a life worth living with or without her. This is fundamentally different from the guy who drops everything when she shows interest, who has nothing going on so he's always available, who makes her his purpose because he doesn't have a real one. That guy signals low value through his availability and neediness. Now, here's why women will never admit this works. Because it contradicts everything modern society teaches about relationships. They're told they should want men who are emotionally available, who prioritize the relationship above everything, who make them the center of their world. They say they want these things because that's what sounds right. But watch their behavior. Who do they actually choose? Who do they chase? Who maintains their interest long term? It's not the fully available, emotionally open, relationship prioritizing guy. It's the guy with strong purpose, clear boundaries, and genuine indifference to whether she stays or goes. This creates cognitive dissonance for women. They can't admit they're attracted to indifference because it sounds shallow or like they're drawn to men who don't care about them. So they rationalize it differently. He's so confident. He knows what he wants. He's so focused and driven. All of these are just ways of describing indifference to her validation combined with purpose, but framed in ways that sound more acceptable. Let me give you specific examples of how this plays out so you can recognize it. The guy who texts her constantly, always available, responding immediately to every message, asking when he can see her again. She loses interest quickly. Why? Because his behavior screams that he has nothing more important than her attention. No purpose, no options, just desperate need for her validation. But the guy who texts when he has something worth saying, who's sometimes unavailable because he's genuinely busy with work or training or projects, who doesn't immediately respond because he was focused on something else. She stays engaged. She wonders what he's doing. She feels like she needs to work to maintain his attention because he's clearly not desperate for hers. The guy who immediately agrees to her schedule, rearranges his life to accommodate her, drops his plans when she becomes available. She takes him for granted. Why? Because his availability signals he has nothing important going on. His willingness to drop everything signals he values her attention more than his own time. But the guy who has his own schedule and invites her to fit into it when it works for both of them, who sometimes says, "I can't tonight, I've got this thing, but how about Thursday?" She respects his time and makes effort to fit into his schedule. His time has value because he's clearly not giving it away cheaply. The guy who seeks her approval constantly, who asks, "Are you happy? Do you like me? Are we good?" She loses attraction rapidly. Why? Because his constant need for validation signals insecurity and neediness. He's making her responsible for his emotional state. But the guy who's secure in himself, who assumes things are good unless she says otherwise, who's focused on living his life rather than monitoring her approval levels, she stays attracted. His security and indifference to constant validation signals genuine confidence. Now, here's what's critical to understand. This isn't about it's not about being mean or dismissive or disrespectful. It's about having genuine purpose in your life that matters more to you than any single woman's validation. The difference is authenticity. If you're performing indifference while actually being desperate inside, she'll sense it. If you're pretending to have purpose while actually having nothing going on, she'll discover it quickly. This only works when it's real. You need to actually build a life worth living, develop real purpose, set meaningful goals, create something, build something, become something. Make your life so full and engaging that female attention becomes an enhancement rather than the main event. When you have genuine purpose, the indifference to her validation isn't performance. It's natural. You're not trying to seem busy. You are busy. You're not trying to seem focused. You are focused. You're not trying to seem like you have options. You do have options because men with purpose attract options naturally. This is why the Stoics emphasized living according to your own principles and values rather than seeking external validation. Epictetus taught, "Make the best use of what is in your power and take the rest as it happens." Your purpose, your effort, your character, these are in your power. Her approval, her attraction, her choices, these are outside your power. When you focus on what's in your power and remain indifferent to what's outside your power, you naturally develop the exact quality that women find most attractive: genuine outcome, independence combined with clear direction. Let me address the obvious objection. But women say they want emotional availability and prioritization. Yes, they do say that, and they do want those things from the right man. The man who's already demonstrated value through indifference to validation and clear purpose. Once she's invested, once she's pursuing, once she's trying to secure your commitment, then emotional availability becomes valuable to her. But in the attraction phase, emotional availability without the foundation of purpose and indifference reads as neediness, not strength. This is the sequence. First, demonstrate value through indifference to validation and clear purpose. This creates attraction and pursuit from her. Second, once she's invested and pursuing, you can reveal depth and emotional availability. This transforms attraction into genuine connection. Most men do it backwards. They lead with emotional availability and neediness, trying to create attraction through vulnerability and prioritization. It doesn't work because it puts the cart before the horse. You can't create attraction through availability. You create attraction through value, which is demonstrated through indifference and purpose. Here's how to actually implement this in your life, because understanding the principle isn't enough if you don't know how to embody it. First, develop real purpose, not fake purpose you create to attract women. Real purpose that matters to you independently. Career goals, fitness goals, creative projects, business building, whatever genuinely engages you and makes you feel like you're growing and contributing. Make this the center of your life. Second, structure your time around your purpose. Your schedule should be built around what matters to you: your work, your training, your projects, your development. Women get invited into your life when it fits your schedule, not the other way round. Third, stop seeking female validation for your choices. Make decisions based on what you want and what serves your purpose. If she approves, great. If she doesn't, also fine. Her approval or disapproval doesn't change what's right for you and your life. Fourth, be comfortable walking away from situations that don't serve you. If she's disrespectful, you're gone. If she's wasting your time, you're gone. If the relationship isn't adding value to your life, you're gone. This isn't about being harsh. It's about having standards and enforcing them because you value your time and energy too much to waste them. Fifth, maintain options. Date multiple women until you've chosen to be exclusive. Stay social. Keep developing yourself. Continue meeting new people. Abundance isn't something you fake. It's something you create by being the kind of man people want to be around. When you actually live this way, indifference to any single woman's validation becomes natural. You're not performing it. You're genuinely indifferent because you have purpose driving you and options available to you. And that genuine indifference, that authentic outcome, independence, is what creates unstoppable attraction. Women feel it immediately. They sense when a man genuinely doesn't need them versus when he's pretending not to need them. The genuine version is magnetic. The fake version is transparent and repulsive. This is why women will never admit this works, because admitting it means acknowledging they're attracted to men who don't prioritize them, who are focused on their own purpose, who don't need their validation. That sounds shallow or like they're drawn to emotionally unavailable men, but that's not what this is. You're not emotionally unavailable. You're emotionally complete. You don't need her to complete you. You're offering to share your complete life with her if she's worth it. That's fundamentally different from being closed off or unavailable. The emotionally unavailable man has nothing going on internally and keeps women at distance to hide his emptiness. The man with purpose and indifference has everything going on internally and is open to sharing it with someone who adds value rather than just demanding attention. Women are attracted to the second type even though they can't always articulate the difference. They just know that being around him feels different. He's not chasing, he's not needing, he's not performing. He's just being himself, deeply engaged with his purpose, and she can either add value to that or not. Either way, he's good. Let me bring this home. The one thing that works on every woman, that she'll never admit genuine indifference to her validation combined with clear purpose in your own life. This works because it signals abundance, demonstrates high value, creates psychological tension, and triggers deep biological attraction mechanisms that women can't control even when they recognize them. Women won't admit this works because it contradicts what they're supposed to want and sounds like they're attracted to men who don't care about them. But watch behavior instead of listening to words, and you'll see this pattern everywhere. This isn't about being mean, playing games, or being unavailable. It's about building a life so full of purpose and meaning that any single woman's validation becomes optional rather than essential. It's about having genuine options through self-development and social engagement. It's about being complete independently, so relationships enhance rather than define you. The Stoics taught this 2,000 years ago. Focus on what you control. Remain indifferent to what you don't control. Your purpose, your effort, your character, these you control. Her attraction, her choices, her validation, these you don't control. When you live according to this principle, when you genuinely focus on building yourself in your life while remaining indifferent to whether any specific woman validates you, you become magnetic. Not because you're trying to attract, but because you've become the kind of man women naturally pursue. Build real purpose. Make it your priority. Let women fit into your life rather than building your life around getting women. Maintain genuine abundance through continued self-development and social engagement. Remain authentically indifferent to validation while being open to genuine connection with someone who adds value. Do this, and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. Women will pursue what they claim they don't want. They'll chase what they say turns them off. They'll be attracted to what they insist isn't attractive, because reality doesn't care what people claim they want. Biology and psychology work according to their own rules. Now you know the secret. The question is, are you willing to actually build the life that makes this authentic rather than performed? Because that's the only way this works. Not as a tactic, as a way of living.